Betrayal hurts in ways words can't capture. But nothing could have prepared me for the day I learned my wife wasn't just cheating. She was cheating with my own father. I thought family was sacred. I thought marriage meant loyalty. I thought my dad was the man I could trust more than anyone. It started with small changes I didn't notice, until they snowballed into a truth so disgusting it shattered everything I believed in. This isn't just a story about cheating. It's about the deepest cut a man can endure. I met Rachel when I was 27. She was smart, ambitious, and had this laugh that could make an entire room feel lighter. We dated for a year, and marriage felt like the natural next step. My dad, Frank, was at the wedding, smiling proudly, giving a heartfelt speech, telling Rachel she was family now. Frank was a retired construction foreman. Widowed for years, he spent most of his days at home or visiting us on weekends. I never thought twice about him being around. He was my father. He was safe. Life settled into a rhythm: work during the week, lazy Sundays with Rachel, and occasional dinners with Dad. But after about 2 years, I noticed subtle changes. Rachel seemed distracted. She started dressing up more, even for quick errands. She laughed at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. And then there was Dad. He began dropping by more often, sometimes when I wasn't home. He'd linger in the kitchen with Rachel, their voices soft, almost conspiratorial. When I asked, Rachel would smile and say, "Oh, we were just talking about family stuff." It didn't seem like enough to worry about at first, but over the months, a tension settled in. It was the kind you can't quite see but can feel in the air, like a storm brewing miles away. I kept telling myself they were just close, that maybe Rachel felt comfortable talking to Dad because he'd been through a marriage himself. But deep down, a part of me was beginning to fear the truth. The first real red flag came one Friday evening. I'd gotten off work early and decided to surprise Rachel with her favorite takeout. Pulling into the driveway, I noticed Dad's truck parked out front. I walked in, expecting to find them in the living room watching TV. But the house was quiet, too quiet. From down the hallway, I heard muffled voices, Rachel's and Dad's. They were in the guest room. My stomach tightened. I told myself it was nothing, but something in their tone made my skin crawl. I knocked lightly. The voices stopped instantly, replaced by the sound of hurried movement. Rachel opened the door a moment later, flushed and smiling too quickly. "Oh, hey, we were just talking about helping your dad with some paperwork," she said. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But her hair was slightly messy, and Dad wouldn't even look me in the eye when he walked past. After that night, I started noticing more patterns. Rachel suddenly making excuses to visit Dad's place alone. Dad buying her small gifts, just because. And the way they'd exchange glances across the dinner table when they thought I wasn't looking. One afternoon, while Rachel was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the counter. I know it's wrong to look, but something in me couldn't resist. It was a text from Dad. "Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you." My hands went cold. My own father. My wife. I spent the next week in a fog, pretending nothing had changed while my mind screamed with questions. How long had this been going on? Did my mom's death mean so little to him? Did my marriage mean so little to her? The breaking point came on a Sunday morning. I told Rachel I was heading to the store, but instead, I doubled back and parked a block away from Dad's house. I walked quietly to the side window, and there they were, in each other's arms, laughing, kissing, moving with a familiarity that spoke of more than just a fling. In that instant, everything inside me broke. I didn't storm in. I didn't shout. I just stood there, frozen, watching the two people I loved most treat my trust like a disposable thing. The Rachel I married wasn't the woman in that room. The father I grew up admiring wasn't the man pressing kisses to her neck. I backed away quietly, my breath shaking. When I got home, I sat on the couch for what felt like hours. By the time Rachel returned that evening, I'd rehearsed my words 100 times in my head. She walked in smiling, like nothing had happened. That smile almost made me vomit. I told her I knew. I told her I'd seen them together. At first, she tried to deny it, but the moment I mentioned the text message, her face went pale. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she whispered. "It just happened." That line, "it just happened," is a lie people tell when they want to avoid responsibility. When I confronted Dad, he didn't even try to apologize. "We're adults," he said. "We didn't plan to hurt you," but they had. Every touch, every secret, every lie, all of it had been a choice. I walked away from them both that night. The divorce was fast. I didn't fight for the house or the car. I just wanted distance, physical and emotional, from both of them. Dad and Rachel stayed together for a while, but when the novelty wore off, reality hit them hard. She realized the man she'd chosen over me wasn't the charming father figure she'd built up in her head, and he realized she wasn't the young trophy wife he thought she'd be. Last I heard, they'd split. I rebuilt my life slowly. Therapy helped. Friends helped more. But the biggest change came from learning to protect my boundaries. Betrayal like that teaches you to recognize red flags long before they become a threat. Some nights, I still think about how easily trust can be broken, not by strangers but by the people you'd take a bullet for. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: loyalty is a choice. Love without loyalty is just a pretty disguise for selfishness. And maybe that's the part that hurts the most, realizing that sometimes the people you love the most will hurt you in ways an enemy never could. So I'll leave you with this. If the people closest to you start treating your trust like it's disposable, how long will you let them?